Palantir stock is up 380% over the past year, and shares are now well over $100 per share. Operating results continue to get better, and investors are piling into the stock. But one of the things that you need to know right now is what insiders are doing. What are they saying versus what are they doing? What is Alex Karp, the CEO, one of the co-founders, doing with his shares? He is selling at a really rapid rate. What is the CFO doing? They're selling. What are other insiders doing? They're selling. I'm going to show you exactly how fast they are selling their stock and what they're taking for it. Guess what? They weren't selling when it hit $110 per share. They were selling at $30 per share, at $60 per share. And these were options they could have held on to until 2032 in some cases. I'm going to dig through all that today. Before we get there, just a quick word about asymmetric investing. Don't forget that you can sign up for my asymmetric investing newsletter, get my market beating portfolio that is doubling the market, more than doubling the market over the past year. You can get access to that. The link on the screen, also the link in the show notes as well. I'd love to have you as part of that community. And I also want to give a shout out to this video sponsor, Finchat. This is a platform that I use. It's a platform I'm going to use to show you exactly how you can find all of this information very, very easily. They're the company that makes all of the wonderful charts that you see on asymmetric investing, including this one. This is Palantir's revenue and net income since 2018. You can see this compound annual growth rate of 29.9%. We can also easily find data like enterprise value to sales multiple, 86.7. But I'm going to dig even further to show you more information. If you want to get started with Finchat, there's a link in the show notes, also a link in the pinned comment. You can get their pro version, which is what I'm using, for 2 weeks for free. And if you decide to be a paying subscriber, you can get 15% off with that discount code. This is a product I pay for, so I'm putting my money where my mouth is here. But let's get to exactly what I'm talking about with Palantir. This is one of those stocks, very polarizing in the market, and you can think multiple things here. You can think that this is a great company, and you can think it is a crazily priced stock. But what I want you to look at is what ownership is doing. This is in this ownership tab. And you can see who the owners of this stock are, the percentage of the shares outstanding that they own. Peter Thiel owns about 4.4% of the stock, about 100 million shares. Alex Karp has 2.4% of the stock, 55 million shares. This does not include options. I'll get to that in just a bit. But here's the thing that I think you need to look at. This is all of the transactions that insiders are making. These are filings that they have to put out with the SEC, so we know when they're buying or selling stock. What are the insiders doing? Alexandra Schiff, member of the board of directors, sold stock January 7th this week. Lauren Friedman Stat, another board of directors member, sold stock this week. Sold stock last week. Other sales comes from Alexander Moore, Ryan Taylor, David Glazer. David Glazer is the CFO. Ryan Taylor is the chief revenue officer and chief legal officer for Palantir. All of these people are selling stock right now to the tune of millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars in some cases. And you can go back here. December, they were selling. November, they were selling. But the numbers get a little bit bigger when you get back to November. Why is that? Let's sort this by individual. And I'm going to focus on Alex Karp here. He's the CEO, one of the founders. He is also the person that said this.
As always, we have a lot of individual investors on the line. Is there anything you'd like to say before we end the call?
We're doing it, and I'm sure you're enjoying this as much as I am. Let's not talk to analysts about the burden of being right, our burdens of investing in ontology, our burdens of actually looking at the math, the burden of reading what the rule of 40 is, the burden of being honest about what an enterprise software company is, or the burden of explaining to your friends that you're really happy.
That's what he said on the fourth quarter 2024 conference call. Basically cheerleading the stock, cheerleading retail investors. What is he doing with his own money? November 20th, 2024, exercised 2.5 million shares worth of options and sold them immediately. November 21st, 2024, exercised and sold 1.1 million shares worth of stock, $73 million. November 13th, 2024, $400 million. November 8th, 2024, $650 million. October 30th, $254 million. These sale prices range from $45 per share to about $64 per share. So while Alex Karp is cheerleading the stock and telling you to buy more, what is he actually doing? He is selling the stock. Where did he get this stock? Here's where we can look at the proxy statement to see exactly where these shares come from. And what you can do with this proxy statement is you can go back and see information like this. In 2020, before the company went public, they gave a executive equity plan. What did Karp get out of that executive equity plan? 141 million shares worth of stock. At today's share price, those shares would be worth almost $16 billion. There was also 3.9 million shares worth of RSU awards. And in 2010, there was a RSU grant of 35.1 million shares. Now, these awards, particularly these options, did not vest immediately. They started vesting, meaning Karp can actually exercise them and sell the stock in 2021, and they vest in equal increments of 1/40th. So you can see that here. This is a little bit small between the grant date, August 6th, 2020. Right now, as of April, he could have exercised at that point 35.25 million shares worth of stock. There was 105.75 million shares that were not quite exercisable yet or vested yet. And you can see right here, the executive grant, the stock options vest in 40 equal quarterly installments beginning August 20th, 2021. Exercise price $11.38 per share. So keep all those numbers in mind. Karp could be sitting on almost $16 billion worth of stock. Most of that would be profits because he doesn't have to exercise this until 2032. You can just let him sit there until 2032. If he is the most bullish person on the company, all of these awards will be available to be exercised anytime between now and August 20th, 2032. But now if we go back to these trades, let's go to the big one here, 650.6 million shares. That was on November 5th, was the transaction date. Filing date was November 8th. I'm gonna just click on ownership here and go down to November 8th. And this is the Form 4 where Karp discloses what he bought and sold on this day. So you can go down here, I'll start with his table 2, derivative securities acquired, disposed of, or beneficially owned. Here's these stock options, and on the 5th of November, he exercised 3.3 million of those stock options and disposed of them immediately. Acquisition, disposal. Here's that $11.38 option price again. Again, same thing. On the 6th, 4.5 million shares, bought and sold. The 7th, 4.5 million shares, exercised those options and then sold them immediately. This is the first table where they just give the overview numbers. They don't necessarily say exactly what the option position was, but here's the acquisition and then the disposal. Acquisition, disposal, acquisition, disposal. So what he's doing is he's exercising these options and then he's selling them immediately. Again, these are options that he could be sitting on for the next 7 years. And again, just go through this list. This is the transaction value. You can see right here, 286,000, 137,000, 1.3 million, 4.8 million, 10 million. You can even sort by value. You can see that in September 2024, Peter Thiel sold $600 million worth of shares. In October, so a few days later, sold another $457 million worth of shares. Now, people sell stock for all kinds of reasons. Executives sell stock for all kinds of reasons. Maybe Alex Karp and Peter Thiel wanted to buy a new house. Maybe they saw other investments that they like better. But these are the two people who have the most to gain from Palantir's success. And if they're selling their stock at $30 per share, at $60 per share, that is showing you exactly what they thought of the valuation of the stock and the company at that point in time, because there was nothing to say that they needed to sell those shares. Those options didn't need to be exercised for years. And there are options for people in those kind of positions. If they want to make a really big purchase, they can borrow against their positions if they don't want to sell. We've seen Elon Musk do this over time. He actually bought more shares of Tesla on margin. We're seeing the opposite with Thiel and Alex Karp. Doesn't mean that this is a bad business, but investors do need to look at what are insiders doing. If insiders are buying, there's only one reason that they're going to be buying. That's because they are bullish on the stock and they're willing to put their money where their mouth is. But when you hear things like Alex Karp cheerleading the stock, cheerleading people buying the stock at $110 per share when he was selling at $30, $40, $50, $60 per share, I think that's something you need to add into your thesis. So just keep that in mind. If you're invested in Palantir or you're interested in Palantir, two things can be true. This can be a great company and it can be a very, very crazily priced stock right now. Let me know what you think about Palantir in these insider sales. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to Asymmetric Investing. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you here next time.